This is section 6-9. The word problems will never be what they were when we first did them. So, I mean, the good thing is these word problems should be doable. So, let's look at our first word problem. You're doing the odds on page 294. The product of one or more than a number and four less than a number is 36. Find the number. So the first thing I see when I'm reading is the product. I circle it and I send it to the closest and. What does that mean, product? What operation is that? Yeah. Huh? What is it? Product, what does it mean? Multiplication. I didn't hear you. I said what? No, I just didn't hear you. So we know that we have to multiply. What comes before it? One more than a number. What is my unknown here? I still want you to identify it. X is the unknown, and it stands for a number. Right? So how would I show one more than a number? You need to staple it. Right there, there's staples. And you showed work for all those on a separate sheet.
Yeah, it's on the blue thing.
Okay, good.
This one?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot I was recording. Okay, so now, what do I do before that? One more than a number. What is that going to look like? Go, Gabriel. X plus 1, not 1 plus X. That's a 1, that's an X. Because it says than, we have to crisscross the terms. Right? So the first one is X plus 1. And then it says I have the multiplication sign, so I'm going to do parenthesis to parenthesis. 4 less than a number. How do we show that? Go.
36 minus 4.
4 less than a number.
Oh, 4.
4 less than a number. 4 less than the number.
Oh, 4 minus X.
No,
Or
go.
X minus 4.
X minus 4. It says less than. When it says than, we crisscross the terms. Is 36 equals 36. There's your equation. So what do we have to do on the right side, on the left side? Yep. Left side. Yeah, you double distribute. So we said X. Oops. Now, I'm going to remind you. It's X squared. Add these two numbers. Add them quickly. Negative 3X. It's the coefficient of the linear. Multiply those two. Negative 4. It's the last term. Equals 36. What do you think we do now?
Subtract 36.
Subtract the 36. Set it equal to 0. Now we have X squared minus 3X minus 40 equals 0. What multiplies to 40, negative 40, and adds to negative 3? Go. Negative 8, positive 5. So it is. Here's how we factor it. The root of X squared is X and an X. And then I'm going to get a positive 5 and a negative 8 equals 0. So I do X plus 5 equals 0. And X minus 8 equals 0. And so now my solution is X equals, what's the additive inverse? Negative 5, and X equals positive 8. Questions? Okay, so those are your solutions. It is negative 5 and 8. And you should be able to check that. You should be able to check that, yes.
Did you just hear their typo? It says find the number, which implies that there's one number that we need to find. Whereas we got two. So isn't it supposed to be find the numbers?
Well, there's only one number at a time. So for instance, there's two possibilities, but there's one number at a time. So for instance, when I'm substituting negative 5, I would substitute negative 5 all the way in. So I just had a question that somebody raised, and that was, How do we get the negative 3 and the negative 4? When you add these two numbers, that adds to negative 3. It's the middle term's coefficient, the x to the first power. When I multiply the last two, it's the last term. But the middle term is always with an x, okay? Now, you can see we can check. And in this case, grammatically, then we've got negative 4, right? And negative 9, that multiplies to 36. So I'm only using one of them at a time. The next one, if I can also check when x equals 8. 8 plus 1 is 9, and 8 minus 4 is 5. So 9 times 4 is 36. Okay, questions? All right, let's try the next one. All right, we're doing area of a rectangle. It says the length of a rectangle is 2 feet less than 3 times the width. If the area is 65 feet squared, find the dimensions. First of all, what do they give us less information on? Really? It said the length of a rectangle is 2 feet less than 3 times the width. What do they give us less information on? The width. So we call that our x. That's what becomes our x. Okay? The length, they give us a translation for. Here it is. Length is 2 less than 3 times width. How are we going to read that? Okay, Brady?
3x minus 2.
Yep. This is a 3x. This is a 2. Because it says less than, we have to crisscross the terms. So it's 3x minus 2 is the length. And then it mentions areas. So we have a formula that goes with that. What's area of, they mentioned area in rectangles. So what's area of a rectangle? Equals? Good. So next, what are you doing? Next. So what do you need to do next? Yes. We distribute. And so we've got 3x squared minus 6x equals 65. Then we set it equal to 0. You with me? Oh, what did I say? Oh, yeah, sorry. Minus 2x. Again, then subtract the 65. And now we're going to factor with our lead coefficient factoring. So remember, we multiply 3 times 65. And we get 195. Negative 195. And what adds to negative 2. Now, your common sense or your rules of divisibility should tell you there's two potential numbers you could try. You could try, what are the two possible numbers would be your first go-tos? What were yours?
5 and 10.
No, not 10's not. No. 10 is going to make it end in a 0. 5 and 15. 25, it wouldn't. So I'm not even going to go try 35. But 25, your answers would be 25, 50, 75, 100. Right? So I'm going to go with 15 first. And when I divide 15 into 195, it goes once. It goes what? And that tends to work. 15 and 13. Which one's positive? Which one's negative? So this becomes x squared minus 2x minus 195 factors to x plus 13 times x minus 15. And then what do we have to do? By 3. And so we get 3x plus 13 equals a 0. And the other one is x minus, I skipped a line, right? I really should just do this here. 3x minus 15, and this becomes x minus 5 equals 0. So for 3x plus 13, I'm going to do it up here. 3x plus 13 equals 0. Subtract 13. 3x equals negative 13. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. X equals negative 13 over 3. That's one answer. The other one, x equals what? Positive 5. Now we have two answers for x equals. What is the solution? I can't have two x's. Josh.
You have to still find the length.
I want to know which one of these is not the x, the width. Mattson.
Can you try them in the equation?
Yeah, we could, but there's a faster way.
Because that's what they do.
And you guys are not thinking about it. All day long, my kids have not been thinking. Go.
Is it the one divisible by 65?
No, easier than that. Okay, big smarty pants. Here we go. It can't be this because distance can't be negative. Okay? So, I'm going to just erase this off. So, when you have the two answers, the negative answer can't be a measurement. So, x has to be 5. And that means that this will be what? 3 times 5 minus 2 is what? 13. So it's 5 and 13. Are there any questions? So just remember, when you have distance, it can't be negative. Yes? No. But sometimes what happens, when you multiply it, your x is supposed to be your shorter one, and it works out to be a bigger number. Then you would know that that's a bad number. Does that make sense? It makes sense for the math, but not when it's in a real situation. All right, base of a triangle is 4 longer than the height. What do they give us less information on? Okay, height, and so we'll call our height x. Always identify your unknown. X equals height. Tell me what it means. And what do we call the base? The base of a triangle is 4 longer than height. Yep, base is 4 longer than height. There's an x, there's a 4. Okay, and that would be, and then what do we have to do? X plus 4, right? So my base is x plus 4. Now, they're also mentioning it's a triangle, and they're using the word area. So what formula do I need? Go, Boa. Half what? Equals? Yep. Half the base times height equals area. Got it right, those formulas down. I want to see them written down. So now we substitute. My base is x plus 4. Now, please note, right now we have a quantity times a quantity times a quantity, right? 3 different quantities. And when I'm trying to, if I wanted to multiply this by something, I only multiply it once, because this isn't 3 terms, because there's no plus sign here. Do you understand that? So I want to clear that fraction. So what am I going to do? Yep.
Multiply both sides by 2.
Both sides by 2. And that just means this to the left only once, because there's no plus sign between the terms. So now what happens is my 2's cancel, and we're left with x plus 4 times the quantity of x equals 32. And we double distribute, it becomes x squared plus 4x equals 32. And now we subtract 32. And here we are. And I am negative 32, positive 4, And what are my numbers, Gabe? 8 and negative 4. And when I solve it, my solutions are such. So what is if x is the height, what is the height? Eden.
If X,
Is it 4 or negative 8, Eden?
4.
Why?
Because you can have a negative.
All right, measurement's not negative. So that means the height is 4 and the base is what, Brady?
8.
Yep, it's 8. Yes, Brady?
Are you always going to have like positive and negative?
No, but like I just said, you might have two numbers and one might end up making you, like when you plug it in, it gives you the smaller side, ends up being bigger number, and it doesn't work. Quickly go.
What if both the numbers are negative?
You'll see. One will make sense to you. Okay, both the negatives are negative, then there's no solution. Okay, the product of two consecutive integers is 90. So what do we always have to do when we hear consecutive integers? What's the first step? Ethan. We define. X stands for what? The first integer, and what would be the second integer called? X plus 1 if it's consecutive. Okay, now what do we do with the both of them? Tyler?
X plus 1.
No. It says product, hon.
Sorry, X times X plus 1.
X times the quantity of X plus 1 equals 90. You guys with me? And now we're going to double distribute X squared plus X. And then I subtract the 90. And now what multiplies to negative 90 and adds to negative 1? Go. 10 and negative 9, good. So it's X minus 9, X plus 10. Okay, now what? Now what? What are my solutions?
So the first solution is negative 10, and the second solution is 9.
Okay, stop there. Okay, so are these consecutive integers? If this was the number line, here's 0, here's negative 10, and here's 9. Are they next to each other? No, they're very different. So, if X is negative 10, oh, you can check them too, yeah. You should be trying to check. Okay? That works. And then, so if X is negative 10, when I substitute in negative 10 here, it makes negative 9. Yes.
So we should do X multiplied.
I got what multiplies to negative 90? No, and positive 1. That would be negative 9, positive 10. Maybe I wrote it wrong. Okay, and then we can try the other one, which was 9. Does 9 work in it? That works. So when X is 9, what would the other one be? The next consecutive one be? Tyler?
9 and 10.
9 and positive 10. So you really have 4 answers here. So you might write this like this. Okay, you do negative 10, negative 9, and 9, comma 10. Do you understand? So with consecutive integers, especially now when we're multiplying X times X, we're going to have more than one answer. We have more than one answer. Once you plug it in, you're going to have 4 answers. Any questions? Okay, that is the lesson for today.